Yes, welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the topic atoms, right? And the objectives that we want to cover for today's video. We want to look at the definition for an atom. We want to look at the subatomic particles. These are the particles that make up an atom. We want to look at the properties of these particles. And we also want to draw a simple diagram to show where the particles are located in an atom. Now, the simple definition for an atom is, right, an atom is the smallest particles of an element that can exist by itself, right? And in some books, you will see them saying it is the basic building block of matter. Now, the idea is that whenever you have an element, right? So for example, you have sodium, element, the sodium element, right? And everyone should have their periodic table. Looking at the periodic table now, a sodium element would consist of sodium atom. So the long and short, the long and short definition of atom, they are the basic building block of matter. So sodium element that would contain sodium atom. So using this simple example here, if you have an iron chair, right, and you know if you have an iron chair, you would have iron element, right? And in that you would have the iron atom, because as I mentioned before, the iron element would contain iron atom. So that's the simple definition for atom. So now we'll be moving on to the subatomic particles. And the subatomic particles, these are the particles that make up an atom. And the subatomic particles, we have three. We have proton, electrons, and neutrons. Now the charges are very much important, right? Because you need to know the charges. So the charge on protons, right, positive, we use the symbol plus right here. And the electrons, the symbol, they are negatively charged. As it relates to the neutron, right, they are neutral. So the charge on that would be 0. And when it comes down to the mass, protons, the mass is 1. Neutron, mass is also 1. However, when it comes down to the electron, they are very light, and this would be their mass. So it's 1 over 1,840, right? So if we're supposed to do that division, they're very, very light. As it relates to the location, that is very much important as well. Protons, they are located in what we deem as the nucleus, and you're going to be seeing that in a few minutes when we draw the structure. So the nucleus would be the center of the atom. They are located into the nucleus. The electrons, they are located in what we call energy orbitals. So when you study deeper in chemistry, right, you would learn more about orbitals and so on. But at this level, at the C-sec level, right, we'll talk about shells. Moving on now to the next objective, right, we want to draw a diagram of an atom, and we're going to show where each subatomic particle is located. So remember, we have P, we have N. In our next video, we'll talk about the atomic number. We'll also talk about the mass number. So we have P, N, E, right? So in the nucleus, this is the nucleus. This would be deemed as the center of the atom. And then within the nucleus, we have the subatomic particles of proton, and the protons and neutrons for all elements that you're seeing on the periodic table, they varies. But when we move on to atomic number, mass number, you'll have a better understanding. These two particles are present in the nucleus of the atom, and the nucleus of the atom we refer to the center of the atom. Now, as it relates to the shells, the shells move around, or they are located around the nucleus, right? So energy levels, so the electrons, they move around the nucleus in what we would call orbits, right? Similar to what they deemed as the solar system, or what we call the solar system. So on these shells, right, it varies on these shells. This is just a simple demonstration to show you where electrons are located, right? So these are what we call electrons. So this is a simple illustration to show you where each subatomic particle is located. So for the nucleus, right, this is the center of the atom. Protons are located in the nucleus, neutrons in the nucleus. And the electrons, they are located on the shell of the atom, or we call them energy levels. So in doing a quick revision, the idea is that atoms, they are the basic building block of matter. right? And I said before, if you have sodium element, so if you have sodium element, a sodium element would contain sodium atoms. And as it relates to the subatomic particles, we have protons, electrons, and neutrons. So the charge on proton, positive, and then electron, negative. Neutrons, they are neutral. As it relates to the mass, protons, they have a mass of 1, and electrons are very light. And this is the mass of electron is 1 over 1840, and then neutron, right? The mass on that is 1. As it relates to the location now, neutrons are located in the nucleus. Electrons are found on energy levels or orbitals and or shells. As it relates to protons, they are present in the nucleus. So if you have made it to the end of the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also check out our free worksheet. And if you want customized study guides, you can also reach out to us. Until next time, peace.